Alrighty, everyone. One more on Casual Friday, or Casual, I don't know what day it is, or at least I don't know what day you're watching this on. I know what day I'm recording it on, and that's not important. So this one is twice the length of the other two, but has some meat to it. I did end up switching which mod packs I'm playing. This time is Craft to Exile, a more Diablo-inspired one, or so they tell me, but I spend most of my time wandering back and forth in the village harvesting crops. There is some excitement, but more importantly, there's some decent ideas bubbling around in there. You'll just have to cut through a lot of to get to them. And again, I hope you're enjoying so far. If you're watching, if you're continuing to watch, obviously you are. If you're not, well, I know this was an interesting experiment. So enjoy. Alright, let's try a different mod pack. See what we get. See if I get something that runs smooth. Sorry about the chair creak. There's some creaks and pops and... Oh, don't give me that look. I know you don't approve. Alright. I don't know what jump loader is, but hopefully that's expected behavior. Close some other jazz. Get rid of that. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. Close them all. Close them all. Be gone. Be gone. Alright. So yeah, unkillable villains, no. No, no, no. Hard to kill? Absolutely. Beat the shit out of the players if they're too arrogant? Absolutely. Don't be afraid to do a James Bond or Conan the Barbarian, the movie, and have the villain roundly trounce them and set them in a death trap and rescue them from said death trap. It's one of the oldest tropes in heroic fiction, and honestly, I think it's underused. Mostly because players are absolutely 110% opposed to getting captured. I have no idea why, but PCs would rather fight to the death than get captured and break out. It's, you know. And depending how old school your mindset is as a dungeon master, sometimes the answer is, all right, fucko, time to die. And, you know, just like in a good action movie, or even a lot of bad ones, sometimes after you crush the first 2 or 3 people, the others go, you know, maybe surrender. Surrender doesn't sound so bad. Surrender's starting to sound actually kind of nice. Craft to Exile. Harmony in a weirdly jammed up, shoved in the corner window that... There we go. Maybe? Maybe? Okay. Explore. Loot. Level. Alright, so the concept behind this one apparently... is, if you're not catching the reference, it's the Diablo knockoff. Oh, is it a couple of angry keyboards? Yes, Diablo knockoff, Path of Exile, via Minecraft. At least that's the inspiration. I spent all of about 4 minutes researching this, so this one might suck and we might move on. So yeah. Pull a Thulsa Doom. Punish them. Take their stuff. In fact, I find taking the character's stuff is usually what drives them far more than any NPC or artificial connections. And I'm going to tie back to the other NPC comment about adopting NPCs. Machiavelli, in The Prince, points out, and this isn't an exact quote, I do read the book every year or two just to refresh. Maybe it's part of the reason I'm cynical, or maybe it's just I love the classics. Not sure. But Machiavelli, in essence, he's correct, and I don't know what it says about us as people, but a man will be faster to forgive the death of his father at your hands than the death of his livelihood. And Cynical as the prince may be, I think every Dungeon Master, it's a breezy read. If you can thumb your ass through the 5th edition Dungeon Master's Guide, you can knock out the prince in an afternoon. It's a good read. Read Sun Tzu. Read Machiavelli. Read Miyamoto Musashi. You know, you are not at war with your players, but you are testing them. Choose your ascendancy. You are the sculptor. Ooh. Okay. This one. Select. Shit. Okay. What did I select? Did I select the right thing? Okay. I'll give you some feedback. I'm too old for this GUI scale. That's my feedback. Okay. I think this is going to be nicer on the player, on the watchers too. Click here to start. Mobs will always scale to the nearest player's level. Oh, good. Hardcore mode? Okay, fine. Yeah, I know that. When I'm half talking and half paying attention to the game, I really don't think hardcore mode is a good idea. Anyway, this was a lot smaller of a pack. Seems to be a little faster in the initial load. We'll see if it gets bogged down. Okay, yeah, that is a dungeon-ish thing. Okay, good. Good news is I can't get into it easily. Crap, can't get out of it easily. Haunted cow. Okay. Don't know why. Don't care. We all have issues, buddy. I'm going to assume that this was dry land when you built the place. Well, maybe not looking at that. Okay. We'll just roll with that. We'll swim up to the front door and say hello. So yeah. Punish them. Bend them. Break them, but not permanently. Make them hate the villain. Let him get away a few times, but do it fair. You know, have him throw down with the party. Show them that they're outmatched. But give them the chance to... Well, hello there. Okay, respawn point set. I'll take it. You know, give them the chance to get even. Give them plenty of chances to get even. You know. Again, and I've hinted at this, and I've told a couple people, and one of my channel projects is going to be Where Screens Collide. Now, I've been running games going on 40 years, and because of that, I have a particular filter. When I'm watching, absorbing, reading, whatever, when I am no, not consuming. I'm not a consumer. When I'm enjoying entertainment, there is the part of my brain in the back that's going, if I was running this as a game scenario, I sure as hell wouldn't, or, I have to keep that in mind when I'm running this as a game, you know, you know, oh, somebody rolled a crit. You know, the whole, my brain is processing entertainment through the filter of a dungeon master. You know, that part of my brain's always on, at least at some level. So I'm constantly getting little tidbits, little ideas. And, you know, it's not unusual. I mean, especially for the Munchkins, for the early days of my gaming. As soon as we all saw Beastmaster, everybody wanted to roll a ranger and, you know, wanted to control animals and wanted to do this and wanted that stupid throwing weapon that's impractical. As soon as everybody saw Crawl, nobody saw Crawl but me, and I loved it, fuckers. And, but as soon as everybody saw Conan the Barbarian, suddenly everybody wanted the their sword to look like Conan's, and you know, they didn't want to play barbarians because it didn't exist yet. I'm of that vintage, guys. Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, hell, box set. I've still got mud dice. Like I mentioned earlier, I have dice older than some of my coworkers. I have dice older than my son. So yeah. You'd never make anything purposefully unkillable. The answer is never no. The answer should always be not yet. And, you know, like if you've made silver weapons vanishingly rare, and silver is, you know, and your characters are poor, and you have a werewolf stalking them, you know, that can be some tense moments. And when they get their hands on that silver weapon, and they have to use it strategically because they've got one silver weapon through, you know, amongst them, and your spells aren't working or aren't doing enough, and the werewolf doesn't know you have that silver weapon, so you really gotta, you know, test them. They really have to push it. See, that's cool because you're playing fair. You're just pushing them. And if you haven't hunted a party of low-level characters with a is that a level 5 chicken? What am I looking at here? Is that hit? That's hit points. Okay. Yeah, that's hit points. If you haven't hunted a low-level party with a werewolf or two, you haven't punished your players. And don't do it as punishment. You know what I mean. Give them signs. Give them warnings. Give them the opportunity to go, hey, you know, we're not supposed to be here yet. I prefer true, you know. The real world doesn't give a damn what you're ready for and what you're not ready for. All you can do is prepare as best you can. And a low-tech, hostile setting like your typical Dungeons and Dragons or any other role-playing game world, if you're role-playing in a utopia, where the hell's the adventure? No, I want my role-playing worlds to be dangerous, heavy in conflict, you know, people fighting each other, territorial disputes, you know, fratricide, you know, the elven and dwarven nations used to be mighty, but they damn near destroyed each other, so now the humans have crawled out of the, you know, shadows and, you know, building their empires, and, you know, fallen empires and bloodshed and glory and, you know, opportunity comes in dangerous times for those who are brave enough, bold enough, or just god darn stubborn enough to take them. And that's true in real life as well as in a good game. In fact, it's doubly true in real life. You know, grab hold. Never let go. Just, you know, make sure you can sleep at night, but don't be afraid. Now, I have no idea where the Path of Exile moments are, but I'm going to rob this house's treasure chest. Thank you. Oh, good. We have the inventory sorter. No. Okay. Biggest cause of arguments when I try to play this game with the wife is my constant sorting of inventory in the chests. She will hand group and hand cluster, and I will auto sort. I'm finding a lot of good stuff here. And I mean, this terracotta, depending what I'm happy to see you, sheep. You may not be happy to see me in a minute, depending. Cold swamplands. Isn't that a bog? I have to look it up again. I don't remember which bog, fen, marsh, swamp. They all have to do with how much water and acidity there is. Oh, you dirty, dirty boy. You filthy boy. Alright, so I'm not currently in a party. Lives, quests. Unlocked quests. Show me the quests. Oop. Click here to start. Click here to show quests. Overworld. Open. Oh, one of these, are we? Okay. Ah, you'll be able to choose from 4 starter weapons. Alright. Well, I would be foolish not to take advantage of having housing. I haven't seen a lot of lively... Oh, hello! Wow. Thank you, Mr. Easter Bunny. Okay. So, yeah. I know that's rambly, but a long and the short of it is, yeah. Test your player characters. Make the NPCs, smart. Beating an idiot only makes you look like an asshole. Okay? Beating somebody, beating a kindergartner at chess doesn't prove how smart you are. And, if your villains are morons, what's the difference between a wand and a scepter? Crafting task, okay. Stone spear. Iron smith hammer. Cool. Yeah, so beating a moron just makes you, doesn't make you look smart. Beating a wimp doesn't make you look tough. Calling yourself Skywalker doesn't make you a Skywalker. Anyway, yeah, sorry. Still bitter. Believe it or not, still bitter. Still bitter, Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should be okay with people wiping their ass with my childhood, but not so much. You'd be surprised. Vayohate. Hey, Vayohate. That's what I'm going with. There's a bell, there's a hole, there's a cat. There's a blast furnace. Okay. Don't know what... Hey, you know that iron hammer? That might be closer than I thought. Yeah, almost an unfair start. I'm cool with that after all the weirdness of the last attempt. So, yeah. I mean, let's be honest. And I'll go back since I've already dipped my toe in it as an example. What's more satisfying? Outsmarting a Grand Moff Tarkin or outsmarting General Hux? What's more satisfying, do you think? Surviving a fight with Darth Vader or surviving a fight with Kylo Ren, who got his ass beat by somebody who'd never touched a lightsaber before? Yeah, you give them that Empire Strikes Back beat down. I mean, beat down. Have the villain go, oh, you guys have a problem with me and my men. You had my interest, now you have my attention. And trash them. Absolutely trash them. That way, when they run off, lick their wounds, come back, and have leveled up, and they beat down the villain, the most, how can I put it? I don't want to say forgivable, but a fairly common sin and a useful one for your NPCs to have is hubris. Have them underestimate the players. Especially if, you know, experience. Were you guys, like, going to build a statue out of this? Because I hope not, because I'm taking it. You know, now, these clowns, these are the adventurers the king has sent that has decided to have whatever, have come from my head. You know. Have that, and if you haven't seen it, I heartily recommend the Street Fighter movie with Raul Julia, just for Raul Julia's performance. For you, it was your most important day of your life. For me, it was Tuesday. You know. What a great performance, and hats off to you, sir. You know, the show must go on, and do it. You know, I won't go into detail, but Raul Julia knew this was his last movie, and he brought it. Okay, he brought it, and because these boys loved the game, they loved Street Fighter. He's like, I want to do something for my kids before, you know. He was facing he was facing the end, facing cancer, looking death in the face, and said, yeah, I got work to do. And for me, nothing more badass than that. You know, I got work to do. I mean, what do you say? What else do you say to that? I don't give a damn if you thought he was the worst actor in the world. I don't give a damn if you think that's a terrible movie. If you don't respect that, I got nothing to say to you. So yeah, I'm not like a lot of DMs, especially these modern ones, and that's cool. You know, I'm glad there is a larger pool of players. I'm glad when people are able to find the kind of game they like. I'm glad that there's all kinds of clay around here because I want to steal more of it, just not right now. I'm glad that, you know, you can tell your different kinds of stories. But you're missing on some of the older storytelling that we used to do. And you're missing on some of the, you know, maybe not excitement, but there's this just huge wimpening that's happening. I don't know what the hell else to call it. You know, I got thrown off of a subreddit. Did me a favor. I got thrown off of a subreddit because, you know, some dungeon master was, oh my gosh, one of the players died. Oh no, I don't know what to do. What do you mean you don't know what to do? Did you go out of your way to kill him? Because unless you went out of your way to kill him, you know, we're talking about a low-tech, zero-sum, in most cases, setting where zero-sum, by zero-sum, I mean zero-sum agriculture. I mean, in order for you to get more, somebody else has to get less. Okay, it's, you know, it's subsistence-level agriculture is pretty brutal. Okay, you know, somebody steals your pig, that's not just, God damn it, they stole my pig. That's, oh, my family is going to starve through this winter. Okay? You need to understand. Razor's edge. Now, you also need to understand most of these people in this sort of setting, or in this traditional setting, have never traveled more than 10 to 30 miles from their house. Perhaps even less, depending how dangerous your world is. And they're not going to be terribly cosmopolitan. They're not going to be terribly diverse. They're not going to be terribly welcoming. They're going to be terribly suspicious and terribly, you know, ground down. My wife's a genealogist. And if you just read your own family, and not any family history, I'm an American, so I like to, you know, a good simple example that's actually fairly well documented is, you know, look at the struggle the early pioneers made. And any comments about colonization and any of that, you know, just leave now. My channel is not going to be for you. Appreciate your input. feel free, have your opinion. That's cool. But if you will do a little study of history, you'll see no matter who it was, crap, it doesn't do the right-click harvest. The natives before we got here were terrible to each other too, okay? That's the best way I can put it. All right, it's, again, zero-sum game. In order for me to have more, you're going to have less. You know, we're going to need to throw you out of my hunting territory so I can hunt here and you can't. Because there are only enough deer to go around. So, look at the early pioneers, or hell, just look at, you know, early tribal natives before we got here, and look at the infant mortality rate. Look at the, you know, life was nasty, brutish, and short. Now, you take a world like that, or a tech level, you go at that tech level, okay, you add magic. Oh, no, but magic's going to make everything better. That depends. That depends. It's not, one, going to make everything better, because it's decentralized, which is both good and bad. Especially wizardry, and, okay, sorcery is a blood gift. Only so many people have it. Wizardry requires an immense amount of resources and knowledge to be shared. And knowledge is power and isn't shared cheaply. Okay? Even now. Especially now, I'd say. On the one hand, there's lots of good free resources for knowledge. On the other hand, for anything, how can I put this? If you want to prove what you know, you've got to pay for the privilege to prove that you actually know your stuff, a la with a degree. Cheers. Awesome. So, yeah. So knowledge isn't given freely. In fact, it's going to be guarded jealously. It's going to be master and apprentice. It's going to be, you know, hunting. And then, okay, so what about clerics? All I got to do is pray and I'll get the spells, I'll get the this. Okay, now, that's where we get into a fundamental and very important world-building question. Old school, first edition, you know, advanced Dungeons & Dragons to differentiate from the box sets. Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, I believe this was very specifically spelled out in second edition as well, but all you needed was faith, according to the text, according to the book. All you needed was to believe it, and you could get first, second, and third level cleric spells. Those came from ritual, those came from belief, those came from, you know, just faith. And the next tiers of spells were, you know, an angel, an intermediary of some kind would give them to you, and then the highest level spells were directly granted by the deity. Now, in a multi-pantheon, polytheistic society, that's where the rules start to get a little, I don't want to say they break, but that's where things are a little weird. Because, you know, with sufficient faith, there theoretically could be first level clerics everywhere, which breaks your game world right there. Breaks your game world immediately. Because if there's thousands of first level clerics running around, that means there's hundreds of second level clerics. That means there's dozens of third level, fourth level, fifth level, you know. That means, you know, does every village have a high level healer? Well, it seems to if you're in the Forgotten Realms. But the ripple effect of that is, okay, yeah, maybe. But the minute you heal somebody who's not a proven member of your faith, does your, you know, do you get shunned? Is it as easy as learning how to do the Lord's Prayers and doing your Hail Marys and learning those steps, and then suddenly you can cast level 1 healing spells? No, it can't be, or else, everything breaks. Now, what's the solution? Well, I don't know. I mean, it's specific to the flavor of the world you want. I mean, faith alone should not be enough, and I'm so aggravated by the... And they've gone back and forth on this. This is not a new thing. I'm kind of aggravated by the fact that that exists. That, oh no, all you gotta do is believe hard enough. And no, because no. It doesn't work. I posit, and I recommend, or how I do it in my worlds, is it's more than just, how do you measure faith? How do you measure a character's faith when he's an imaginary, the layers of the inception levels of layers of what the fuck you've got here is, okay, oh yeah, my paladin's faithful. He does his sacrifices every day. He does his prayers. He does his, if the player forgets to tell you that he's doing his prayers at night, gotcha. No, most players don't want that level of detail. Most DMs don't, even if you think you do, don't have the time for that level of nitpickery. So, yeah, there's got to be a buy-in. There's got to be a sacrifice. There has to be a dedication. Maybe clerics can't multi-class. Or for this god they can't. This god they can. If God of War wants you want to pick up a level of fighter, oh yeah, awesome, go for it. Great stuff. Oh, God of Healing, you want to pick up a level of fighter? Oh, guess what? You're not getting your clerical magic today. The goddess disapproves. You're supposed to find a peaceful solution. There's no easy answer to this, but going back to the main point that I'm meandering around, when you're designing your world, you need to have an idea of how much magic is out there in it. I personally hate Flintstones settings. Absolutely hate Flintstone settings. For me, the Forgotten Realms is the classic example of one. You've got everything. Eberron is arguably worse, but at least they've got some interesting history going there. Forgotten Realms has these giant cities, good communications, coast to coast, and all of this nonsense that's very 21st century. Plus, they're so, cosmopolitan that, oh, yeah, Dragonborn or, elves rubbing shoulders with dwarves. And drow aren't so bad, it turns out. And we've got a good drow goddess. And, yeah, there's still that bad one out there. But drow are people just like everybody. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, just stop it. Okay. I'm not saying every village needs to be, fantasy West Virginia. But the paradox of the people who tend to play this way tend to be some of the people I've had some rather heated and rough interactions with in my personal life. The contradiction, shall we say, of how they behave in game and how they behave in reality, I find terribly amusing. I need to be able to mark this on my map. I don't know if I can. Damn it, I was going to shear that sheep. I saw he was low on hit points. I got derailed. Yeah, the idea that, oh, well, no, the dwarves and elves and everybody all get along, right? No. While I thought it was a terrible show, no, I didn't think. While it was a terrible show, the one thing I appreciated about Enterprise, the last halfway decent Star Trek show, was that, the Vulcans were dicks. The Vulcans were dicks. They treated us like children. They didn't give us everything. They didn't trust us. And let's be honest, they're right not to trust us, even if you go off of just the Star Trek timeline's history. We had nuked ourselves to the near point of oblivion, and here's this race that came along and went, oh boy, what are we going to do with these clowns? Well, we're going to use them. We're going to use them, pure and simple. The Andorians are a problem. The Klingons are out there. Oh, and they're lumpy again. Never mind, different issue. And, yeah, oh no, we're going to use them. Hell with this. So, I did get one wool. I think I activated this thing, right? Oh, yeah, they do still cost you levels. Okay. Aha, create waypoint. Thank you. Well, cache anyway. So, understand who gets the clerical power, just in a rough sense. You need to understand who has the magic. Okay, once you understand who has the magic, told you this was going to be rambly. I might do some edit downs. I might use this as a rough draft. I might not even ever upload this. If you're watching this, obviously I did. You have to figure out who has the magic. So, get a rough idea how many magic users there are. And by that I mean both in the context of the original, magic user was what we used to call wizards. Pretty ballsy calling yourself wizard at first level. I understand thieves wanting to rebrand themselves as rogues. Not a thief, no, just a rogue. I get that one, but wizards. I'm a wizard. You're a hairy wizard. Get the hell out of here. You're a first level freaking twat. Because especially in your newer editions, especially you 5th edition people, back in the day, being a first level wizard, you cast one spell. You could have proficiency in dagger, dart, staff. So you were basically a peasant that had a little trick up your sleeve, and not much else. Now, with cantrips, I can do things man was not meant to do, and I can even use a crossbow, and and that's cool. I'm not, banging mud, hey? I'm not going to get too into that, because I get it. It's boring to go, well, I cast my magic missile. I'm going to hang out in the back of the party and mooch experience points until tomorrow. Basically in terms of you noobs. No offense. Basically, one spell, long rest, one spell, long rest. Repeat, and not only that, you were leveling slower than everybody else because, and this is a different topic, different classes had different rates of advancement. Thieves leveled up very quickly. Clerics leveled up almost as quickly. Fighters leveled up at a fair pace. Rangers a little slower. Paladins even slower. Wizards the slowest. That's from memory. I'd have to look it up to be sure, but it's roughly that. Oh, and you couldn't just decide, I want to play a paladin. You would have to have damn good stats to be a paladin. And that I liked. But, different story. So, when world building, you need to figure out, hey, who's got the magic? And you need to realize that, well, whoever's got the magic, the rich and powerful are going to hoard it one way or the other. They're either going to restrict its availability to the peasants, or the faithful, or the knowledgeable, or the chosen, etc., 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 all the way down to the village level. Oh, I'd be happy to hail you, but see, I can't because technically you're a heretic. Okay, this is a wand. Why is it not wanding? Yeah, I'd be happy to help you out, but I can't because, I am forsworn to another. I'd be happy to help you out, but it'll cost you, and it's going to be some flavor of that. So it's going to be much like, private jets. We're all aware of them. Most of us never been in one. Most of us never been in a private jet. We know who has them. We know what they use them for. Most of us have never been in a, 5-star hotel. We know they're out there. We know they exist. Hell, we've even walked past them. But we're gated away from them, and I am not doing a hate the wealthy thing here. I ain't like that. Good for you if you got it. Good for you if your parents gave it to you. Cool. Everybody's got their own problems, even the rich. You're kidding yourself if you think otherwise. Like, oh, money would solve all my problems. No, it wouldn't. It would solve these problems, and you'd find a whole host of new ones. Right, instead of trying to figure out where one and go this and that, and I'm going to make this into my base. And yeah, I know. You will see, if I do this Minecraft playthrough for long, you will see I'm going to have, and I did not just, yeah, I did, damn it. I'm going to have crafting tables all over the damn place. It'll make you a little crazy. So, yeah. So, yeah, it's not a hate the rich. It's not a, down with the man. No, no, no. I'm a capitalist all the way through. I am a free market capitalist, baby. Really? I hate that shit. Can I just have vanilla chests? All you come on. Man. Alright. Quest book. Decorate. I don't give a shit. Age of Exile guidebook. Yes, I'll keep that. Thank you. Food. Yes. Stick. Right. Sticks and stones, baby. And man. Yeah. Oh. How do you make that a hammer? Ironsmith hammer. Okay. It's the one time I was hoping to have that stupid crafting guidebook thing. Getting started. Salvaging. Repairing. Gear crafting. Leather for leather, yeah. Ores allow you to craft weapons. Okay. Leather of potential. Cloth of potential. Rotten wand. Oh. Okay. Cool. Salvaging. Salvage station is the first thing you'll want to craft. Is it really? A lava bucket? Sure. Okay. Repairing. Socketing. Ooh, now you're talking. Leveling basics. Zuna's favor. Favor. Oh, cool. Cool. Good. You can't just mob farm. I'm down for that. Magic spells. How to get spells? Alright, well. Skill trees. Hello! Here's where it goes Path of Exile. And I have 2 points, and I had no idea. Okay. Okay, I still have 2 points. Good. Okay, cool. Oh, I did not want to do that. I don't think. Arrow, but no, I did not want to do that. Fuck me. Healing aura. Crap. Okay. Reset points? How do I reset? Reset. You say reset. Crap. Important items be warned. Entry index. Progression milestones. Yeah, so, yeah, figure out who's got the magic, figure out how much magic there is, figure out how well the gods interact with each other, figure out how well the worshippers interact with each other, and then you can start making your world. Now, again, going back to the point I made in the first part of this rambly discussion, Only develop as much detail as you need. The hex crawl is an old tried and true and goes all the way back to at least the first edition Dungeon Master's Guide. In fact, it's been reprinted almost, verbatim in the 5th edition. And people talk about a West Marches campaign, and then I had to look it up and realize, oh, you're talking about just a good old-fashioned hex crawl. Great. Yeah, we used to do that all the time. I love them. Well, for a hex crawl, all you need to do is define the initial village and the map around it. Anything past that, develop as you need to. Going back to my point about the random encounter tables, this is where your random encounter tables can come in useful, where you dig out your encounter tables. The old Dungeon Master's Guide, Monster Manual, all of the old books always had them broken up by terrain. And, okay, well, what is this terrain? Once you figure out what terrain there is, you go, okay, well, what lives in this biome? Obviously, I don't want them fighting crocodiles in the desert, but, hell, so you roll some random encounters, and you go, oh my gosh, this is the second time I've rolled goblins. There's a tribe of goblins around here. Now, there's all kinds of awesome world-building tools and all kinds of awesome, I can't say enough about Adventurer Conqueror King's system. It is based off of, basically, it's OSR, so it's basically based off the blue or red box Dungeons and Dragons, where, oh, what's your character class? Elf. And, no, I mean, what's your class? I told you, elf. And, it can seem a little limiting, but you'd be damn surprised. And it's got one of the best sections on world building I've ever seen in a game book, on how to make your map, how to make your world, how to populate it with adventure, and all of that. And it's got the best, literally the best, economic system I've seen in-game. And your characters can Marco Polo the fuck out of it and wheel and deal and make experience points and gold by being, traveling merchants. So, yeah. Those are my core thoughts for getting the foundation of your world. And like I said, if I upload this, maybe it'll be after I tighten up these thoughts and throw a Dungeon Mastery video together. Maybe it'll be before. And I'm probably going to try and cut these into bite-sized chunks. Because Streamlabs is being a bitch and my mic bar isn't flashing anymore, I don't know if I'm actually recording any of this. So, I'm going to step away for a moment, get my water, figure out where I am.